one big thing we're learning, and when you really like just take it as big picture as possible, is if nobody's enforcing the law doesn't really matter that much. So when you see, this administration breaking the law daily, every single day they break the law, but they got the Supreme Court in their pocket, they got a bunch of other judges in their pocket, and they're gutting all the people who would stand up against them.
All right.
Well, now the law doesn't matter as much.
Hey, it's Jordan. I am in Flint, Michigan, East Palestine, Ohio, Tumwa, Iowa. Please support the only independent outlet on the ground covering what the corporate media covers up.
Okay, so I'm with somebody that does not need an introduction to the Status Coup, obvious. Ron.
Hey, Status Coup fam, good to see ya.
It's been a minute.
It has been a minute. I knew I was following your coverage while we were waiting to park. I saw you. You were already on Blue Sky, and I'm like, Tina's already in there. She probably camped out. I'm sure I'll run into her at some point.
I'm wearing my crazy new glasses just for Ron during this interview.
I think that's a good look. I dig it. What do you guys think? Cast your votes. But yeah, no, this is it's been a good event. So I'm glad people are showing up. I'm glad that people are showing up for this cause against the oligarchy. Like that's the good part of it. I mean, I'm not a big fan of politicians in general these days, but I like the fact that it's like the cause is oligarchy as a bad thing, and people are showing up. And I'll tell you something specific about today's event. I really love the fact that there's so many unions here. There's production assistants unions. There were the hotel workers. The nurses are here.
SEIU.
SEIU is here, and there's probably a ton that I just haven't even seen yet. That's really, really good. Because, I think at the end of the day, like that's what needs to happen. There just needs to be, basically every industry needs a Chris Smalls, needs a Sean Fain, et cetera, et cetera. Like that's the type of leadership we really need at the end of the day,
I don't disagree. Ron, let me ask you something because we're discussing unions. Trump has gone after the NLRB. He wants to, create more right-to-work laws, take away, really workers' rights, their ability to collectively bargain. What do we do about that? Is it something that can be fought on the union local level? Is it going to become a bigger issue because it's a federal thing? The NLRB doesn't exist, so where do you take the disputes? Like, how does that all going to work out, do you think?
Well, I think the only way is to strike, because the only thing we can withhold at that point is our own labor, because when the law, one big thing we're learning, and when you really like just take it as big picture as possible, is if nobody's enforcing the law doesn't really matter that much. So when you see, this administration breaking the law daily, every single day they break the law, but they got the Supreme Court in their pocket, they got a bunch of other judges in their pocket, and they're gutting all the people who would stand up against them.
All right.
Well, now the law doesn't matter as much.
I got to give Ron a little pushback on this, because wildly, I didn't see this coming, but SCOTUS did go against Trump the other day when it came to this. Did you see this yet? Okay, so even this SCOTUS is saying, no, you can't deport this guy. He's not a gang member. You sent him to a country that he's not from, and he's now in a prison. I'm sorry, that is worse than a prison. It's awful. So you have a guy that has been deported wrongfully. And, I was listening to some of the court case yesterday, and the federal DOJ attorneys were basically, we don't know where he is. They obviously do, because they said he's in El Salvador at this prison, but how much more stress can our legal structure take? Because right now, they're kids. Right now, we're in a situation where you do have some courts saying, this is not right, we're going to stop you on this, we're going to file an injunction. So some of those checks and balances are still sort of holding. I don't know how tenuous that is.
All gone.
What are your thoughts?
I think too much of it is gone. It's not all gone.
I agree with you there.
But it's still a very, very big problem. But yeah, I think that stuff like this, like what people are talking about, is just the way to fight back. It's like you really need to have the freaking numbers to say, like, we're not going to stand for this. We're going to strike. We're going to protest. We're going to, just show up. So I think that that's really the only fix for all this, because we're witnessing a coup. Like, this is a straight up coup. That's not an embellishment. That is literally what's happening. They are gutting all of our institutions, And I know that the system we have is not great, but it can totally be replaced with something worse. And that is what is happening. And I think that's what some people like lose sight of. They're just like, well, so much of the system just needs to go. Yeah, but if you replace it with something worse, it's going to take that much longer to get to better. Read Crane Britton's book, Anatomy of a Revolution, if you really want to break down how all that stuff works. The fact that we're going in a true fascist takeover direction does not mean like it's going to be a great revolution next time. No, it's like we're just digging further in the hole. So yeah, I mean, this is a real pivotal moment, and I just really hope that there's some sort of mass movement as a result of all this, because I think anything less is just not enough.
Right. I don't disagree. And in fact, well, the one thing I would add to that is my argument against people on the liberal and the left side that have often said, like, burn it all down, it's worthless. I'm like, nah, don't burn it all down, because what comes next is going to be far worse. And I don't think people were sort of getting that. I think they're getting it now.
Well, I think, again, it's like what we said. If you're going to burn it all down and replace it with something better, great. If it was burn it all down and it was because Bernie Sanders was president, and the burning it all down involved the for-profit insurance industry and the for-profit prison industry and gutting the way we, are predators for education and making college free, that's still a burn it all down, but the good kind. The bad kind is when you are gutting what few social services and protections we have.
The entire federal government at this point.
Right. And they're not gutting, did they gut the Pentagon budget? No.
They missed that one.
Yeah, they just missed that one. I know there's a couple people entertaining the fantasy that Trump's a non-interventionist. Cool story. That's a cool imagination you got there. And there's also like, he's going to be good for labor. Look at what he's doing to labor. He's gutting all of the labor protections, literally all of them. Why do you think he's doing it? Oh, the tariffs will be good for this and that. No, not the way he's doing it. Not the way he's doing it. Yeah. There's a time and a place for tariffs, sure. But the way he's doing it is a complete destructive way. And guess what? They're not trying to bring about Detroit in the 60s and 70s. They're trying to bring about kids in the coal mines. That's what they're trying to do. That's why we're seeing lax policies around child labor. Literally, child labor is back. Not an embellishment. Child labor is back. And we're seeing actual labor protections being gutted. He's going after the NLRB. He's going after like all of the labor institutions. I almost went into a little bit of Bernie Sanders there. He's going into all the institutions. I'd like to introduce my good friend Neil Young. I sent him a long list of requests. I don't know if he'll play it or not, but I really hope he does. I'll be honest, part of the reason I came today, Neil Young. Never seen Neil Young. I figure if the country's declining into fascism, I might as well enjoy a Neil Young show. Might as well. And also, I will say, I did bring some flyers for my movie, Status Coup fam. I know you know about it, but Left at Wall, it is out now. You can see it on Apple TV, Amazon Prime, YouTube. You can rent it on YouTube, so you don't even need to leave the platform you're on.
We have seen and experienced how our government and laws are more responsive to lobbyists than to the will of everyday people. And we also know that the agenda of dark money to keep wages low and to loot our public goods to give to the rich is deeply unpopular with people of all backgrounds, all parties, and all places.
I really like the way they went about this event. The focus was on unions, the focus was on groups and organizations, and I thought that was the way to be. I thought that was a really cool play. Neil Young, that was so freaking, oh my God, that was Neil Young. And I'll say this, AOC had to follow Neil Young, which I think if you're going to follow Neil Young, you might be planning on running for president. I don't know. I'm just saying, if you're going to follow Neil Young introduced her. Which, I mean, when's the last time Neil Young introduced anybody? Probably never.
Or a politician? I would think.
Right? I mean, or it could just be that Bernie also just didn't want to have to follow Neil Young and told her that. It could have just been, he could be like, look, I'm 83 years old, it's hot as balls, I'm not following Neil Young. You're going to have to do that, AOC. You're younger, this is my event, sorry, you got to earn your dues, you're following Neil Young. But it was really, this was, I liked that play. This was not about, or not at least much about electoralism. And when it was about people particular to California. There were city council people. There were some people at the state level. But it was about like unions and groups. And that's what you want to see at things like these. Right. Because this really is like a people-centered thing. It's got to be. Because otherwise it's just a parade otherwise.
And how we respond to this moment will not only impact our lives, but will impact the lives of our kids and future generations. And in terms of the climate, it will we can depend on whether or not the planet Earth survives. That's why we're here today.
Well, first of all, side note, I am glad that climate change did come up, because it's only April and it is 5,000 degrees here in Los Angeles. It is crazy hot here in downtown LA. We are sweltering. But yeah, I mean, it's remarkable what they're getting away with. And again, like we talked about this earlier when we did an on-site interview, when the rule of law, like, it doesn't matter anymore when people just aren't there to enforce it. And nobody's enforcing it. No one's checking this guy, or at least they're checking him very, very little. So this is what a coup looks like. This is a literal coup. It's a coup by a bunch of plutocratic billionaires who, let's be totally honest, are frickin' Nazis. Elon Musk is a Nazi. If you're not convinced by that, read about his grandfather, the guy he looks up to. Read about his grandfather. Elon Musk is a freaking Nazi. So that's what's happening in this country right now. It's a freaking coup, and we don't have the option to be quiet. We don't have the option to be quiet. We don't have the option to be passive. We need to be smart. We need to be strategized. We need to be organized. Because yeah, they're coming in our schools. They're deporting people. They're deporting people illegally. They're taking visas away. I mean, every university, you're hearing about it. Pretty much every university, visas are just being taken away from people. What kind of country is this? I mean, this is gross.
They've been asking for tariffs for a really long time. And I think that the reason that it's happening now twofold with the way they are destroying the federal government, because in their mind, part of their ideology is that we make the federal government so anemic, so tiny, and then we fund that anemic, tiny government with tariffs. That way, we can get rid of the income tax. So basically, these tariffs are a giant handout, a tax grab, really, for the wealthiest in this country.
So, getting at it big picture first, tariffs are a tool, and tools can be used or misused, just like fire is a tool. And when fire is heating my home or cooking food, it's a great thing. When it's burning down California, it is not a great thing. Tariffs, when utilized properly in the right context, can be a good thing. When they're going scorched earth, which is what Trump's doing, it is not a good thing. Well, simultaneously, he's gutting labor. He said, oh, we're going to bring manufacturing back to the United States. Really? Then why are you gutting labor? Why are you bringing it back in this? Ending the NLRB. So this is not about helping manufacturing. This is about hollowing out our economy completely, having basically servitude type labor. We're talking like children in the coal mines labor. That's what they want to do. And they want to create a tax haven for themselves. So that's what these tariffs are all about. And I do think some people are missing the mark on this, because they're looking at it through this theory only lens, and they're not taking into context. They're not taking in the context of, well, wait a second. It's not this like always one size fits. It's like the equivalent of someone who reads the Bible without any, like, they just take it all literally, don't put in any historical context. Oh, well,
Jonah did live in the belly of a whale.
I have a lot of questions. I think it was a metaphor for a fun Friday night. But no, so that's what's happening here with these tariffs. Tariffs can be a useful tool, absolutely, and they have been at various times throughout history. In this case, no. This is scorched earth. This is terrible policy, and I think there are some well-intentioned people being fooled by it. You have to look at the big picture. Is this really about helping labor? No. Is this really about... In fact, this is going to hurt a ton of labor, too. I live in the San Pedro neighborhood. We are home to the Los Angeles harbor, one of the busiest harbors in the frickin' world. No worries, man. They got to get through. They are working, man. It is important what they're doing. People Yeah, they got it. Just a little background noise, folks. What are you going to do? It comes with the territory. But yeah, the harbor where I live is being hit really hard because we rely on commerce from all over the world. So those union dock workers are really freaking worried right now. So these tariffs are not in any way for the working class. If you can join a union, do it. If that's applicable to you, join a grassroots organization. Join a task-based policy organization. Show up to protests. Go on strike if you can. Show up to events like this. Make new friends, eventually like-minded people. Preston, what's up? I'm Ron. Good to meet you. Anthony, I'm Ron. Good to meet you. I know you. I know you, Tina Desiree Berg. I've known you a very, very long time. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Also, humbly mention, my movie Left It Wall is out now. You can check it out on Apple TV. You can rent it on YouTube. And Seattle, I'm coming at you May 23rd. You can get tickets at ronplagone.com. But yeah, now is the time to mobilize. Now is the time to be active. And thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate it.